Good evening. Welcome to the Art Institute of Chicago. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Allison Fisher. I am the Harold and Margot Schiff Curator of Architecture and Design and co-curator of the current exhibition, Bruce Goff, Material Worlds, with my colleague, Craig Lee. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's performance, Bruce Goff, Roles and Reimaginations by Third Coast Percussion. Please take a moment to silence your phones and any other mobile devices. I would also like to begin with an acknowledgement of several people with us tonight whose support was instrumental to the development of this performance, as well as the Goff exhibition. New arrangements by Third Coast that you will experience tonight were made possible by generous support from Sydney K. Robinson. Sydney has also been a steadfast supporter of the exhibition project, offering generous access to his Goff-designed home and donating a major work by the architect that is on display for the first time in the museum's new Regenstein Hall. Today's program was also supported by the Carol Given Winston Fund for Docent and Patron Education. Carol was a member of our museum family for 38 years, introducing students and visitors of all ages to our collections and exhibitions. The fund bearing her name was established to inspire those who share Carol's love of art and learning. I'm happy to welcome Carol's son, Bert Winston, who is with us tonight. Thank you. We are extremely grateful to the organizations and donors who provided major support for the exhibition, including Jack Butler and John Vander Linden, Ralph Johnson and Kathleen Nagel. We are pleased to welcome Jack, Ralph, and Kathleen, who are in the audience tonight. You have my sincere thanks. Additional support is provided by the Graham Foundation for Advanced Studies in the Fine Arts. We are fortunate to be joined by members of the Graham Foundation tonight and honored by their support of our projects at the museum. Thanks. Before we enjoy the performance, I would like to start with a little background on Bruce Goff, whose life and work inspired the exciting collaboration between the museum and Third Coast Percussion. Goff was a prolific, yet idiosyncratic architect who practiced in the United States between the 1920s and the 1980s. Our current exhibition is the first large-scale retrospective of his work in 30 years. This project frames his career as a holistic creative endeavor, encompassing his personal collections, ambitious painting practice, and his wildly inventive architectural projects, many of which are single-family homes, such as this house for turkey farmers Glenn and Louetta Harder, that appears to hover over the Minnesota prairie. One of the key ideas of the exhibition is materiality, as Goff's unconventional approach to materials, collections, and yes, stuff, unites much of his work. In this photo, for example, a real touchstone for the project, we see Goff in his office at the University of Oklahoma, where he served as chair of the school's architecture department from 1942 until 1955. Here, unexpected juxtapositions abound with peacock feathers, Native American paintings, Japanese lanterns, a Hopi Katsina figure, and a hanging geometric star were assembled by Goff under an unusual ceiling treatment of dried tumbleweeds secured by a network of crisscrossed white string, a powerful preview of the architect's layered approach to creating space. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, a defining feature of Goff's practice was an intense commitment to interdisciplinarity. He was a devotee of modern art, and as a young architect, voraciously consumed articles on modern painters, including Cezanne, Picasso, Georgia O'Keeffe, Marston Hartley, and particularly Austrian artist Gustav Klimt. He began collecting Klimt's work as a teenager, first with a limited edition portfolio of prints purchased in installments from a sympathetic bookseller in New York, and later with the acquisition of several original works, including a monumental landscaped painting by the artist, now at the Neue Gallery, and a beautiful figural drawing in the Art Institute's collection. Goff treasured these important works of art, but was refreshingly open and unfussy about their display, at times showing the landscape behind an Art Nouveau water dish used by his beloved cat Chiaroscuro, or hung next to a beaded curtain and lava lamp in his home in the 1960s. Returning to his early life, Goff's interest in painting soon grew into more than mere research and collecting. In his teens and early 20s, he began creating paintings of his own, beginning with small yet vibrant transparent watercolors, like these examples from the 1920s, for which he earned the yearbook superlative, most likely to make futuristic art. Painting religiously every Sunday, Goff produced works in one sitting, which he called compositions, a term that was intentionally linked to other forms of artistic production, namely music. His practice shifted in the 1930s to using opaque watercolors to create paintings with hard-edged abstraction, mimicking some of the forms of the increasingly ambitious geometries in his architectural projects of the period. Importantly, this deep dive into modernism was not a solo pursuit for Goff. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, he found new inspiration in a creative circle that included painter Olinka Hurdy, poet and later romantic partner Richard Sanjewel, composer Ernest Brooks, art teacher Ada Robinson, and dancer Evelyn Hall, Goff's wife from 1928 to 1932. With Hall, Goff created a kind of salon in an apartment decorated with stark black and white decor, where he celebrated art and music through masquerade parties and created improvisational musical compositions, rivaling the kind of avant-garde spaces one usually associates with Paris or New York. And here I'm showing you a charming photograph of Hall, Goff, and Hurdy dressed up as modern dance, architecture, and painting, respectively. With this group, Goff began to appreciate the interconnected nature of modernism, a recognition leading to a tripartite devotion to art, architecture, and music that would continue throughout his life. With some projects, this multidisciplinarity was realized literally, such as this stunning building for Patty Adams Schreiner, a concert pianist who opened a popular piano school in Tulsa. In 1928, she commissioned Goff to create a combination music school, performance space, and private home on the banks of the Arkansas River. For this complex program, Goff created 2 interlocking volumes, a public-facing facade for the music school, and her residence tucked discreetly behind. The Deco-inspired building has a striking design, with a huge round window at the center of a white stucco facade, flanked by rectangular windows in a stepped pattern, recalling musical notes from a treble clef staff. For the interior, Goff imagined a dramatic lobby centered on abstract murals and surfaces with abundant color and texture. The symphony of colorful decorations would enrich the space, preparing visitors for performances in the recital hall. He turned to painter and close friend Olinka Hurdy to realize the project's complex mural programs. In the lobby, Hurdy painted Symphony of the Arts, a 16-foot-tall mural featuring a stylized female dancer, piano keys, and notations against a background of architectural forms. Inside the recital hall, she painted 8 vertical murals depicting different kinds of music, including piano, string, choral, and most intriguingly, music of the future. Although the original murals no longer exist, these watercolor studies represent her collaboration with Goff and their shared celebration of the arts. Most importantly for our program this evening, Goff's next foray into music took place in the context of a recording technology, the player piano. This mechanical instrument was designed for use at home to play musical performances that had been recorded on long paper rolls, like the one you see here, with notes as punched holes through which air passes to play specific keys. Beginning in the early 1930s, Goff composed new works directly on blank player piano rolls, laboriously hand-cutting each hole with a hobby knife. This unconventional approach allowed him to bypass the limitations of traditional piano playing by, for example, regularly exceeding the number of notes that 2 hands can play at a single time. He staged several public performances of these works after his 1934 move to Chicago, where they were received with some degree of confusion by local critics, who struggled to make sense of his approach, describing the works as, quote, angular and rhythmically baffling, which unfortunately was a common reception for experimental music of the period. In the end, this mixed reception reinforced Goff's commitment to architecture, and he only composed around 12 player piano pieces in total. Yet, this limited output has proved an enduring part of his practice, with unusual and even beautiful compositions whose patterns suggest Goff's equal attention to visual and notational considerations. This kind of hybridity is also at the core of an exceptional object created by Goff in 1942, a 3-panel screen designed for Myron Bachman, a recording engineer, to separate the entrance and waiting room of his in-home studio, located in a house in Chicago's uptown neighborhood that was later remodeled by Goff in 1947 to 1948. Goff conceived of the screen as a record album, side A being the front, which you can see here, and side B the back, and decorated it with several lengths cut from commercial piano rolls, including a piece by composer John Ireland. Goff then united the panels with a curving form in shiny black enamel and embellished the roll's holes with painted decorations and metallic stickers. In this way, the screen suggests the way that Goff attempted to give visual form to musical experience as a kind of synesthesia that appears again and again in his work. Goff returned to music as an educator, completed several subsequent projects for musicians and music aficionados, and eventually amassed a collection of over 10,000 records. And it was Goff's lifelong relationship with music that drew Third Coast to his unique compositions. The group first debuted a performance based on his piano rolls in 2014 for a concert held in one of the architect's most dynamic homes, the Ruth and Sam Ford House in Aurora, Illinois. This year, they completed new arrangements for the full catalog of Goff's pieces for the player piano, which are being presented to you for the very first time. The performance we will hear combines direct transcriptions of Goff's quirky, beautiful, and at times difficult musical works with the ensemble's expanded and reimagined interpretations of the musical fragments and experiments that Goff left behind. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Third Coast Percussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much and welcome. We're Third Coast Percussion. My name is David, and this is Peter, Sean, and Rob, and we are so excited to be here with you all tonight. We've been dreaming up this project with the folks at the Art Institute for quite a long time, and so to finally be here and performing this music with you is really special for us. We have divided tonight's concert into essentially 3 sets of Goff's work, along with a fun encore where we play a bunch of drums at the end, because that's fun. As was mentioned, we'll be playing some direct transcriptions. We'll be playing some reimaginations of some sketches that Goff left us. This first set are 3 player piano pieces that Goff completed. And they were titled, and they sort of stand on their own as musical works. So now you'll hear Parade, Exotica, and a 3-movement work called Three Exaggerations.
Thank you very much. Everything you've heard so far is a pretty close representation of what's in Goff's piano roll compositions that we just arranged ourselves for our own instruments. Had the joy of adding sort of different colors, different dynamics. That's something a player piano can't really do, is loud and soft, so that sort of adds some fun excitement. But the next set of pieces are kind of reimaginings, things that we took a fragment of an idea or a structure or some of the thematic material from some of Goff's compositions and took things in a very different direction, a different energy, different aesthetic. Here is, to kick off that set, the first one is called Space Sounds.
Thank you so very much, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. If you'd like to join us at the end of the show, we're going to come down here and answer all your questions. So you can come down to the front of the stage. We can talk about our process of transcribing all of these amazing works, or how did we reimagine it? Or you could just ask us what that big instrument is. Any of that is fair game. We have a ton of exciting concerts right here in Chicago this season. The next one is in February 25th at the Merritt School of Music as part of the Nova Linea Musica series. We'll be playing, I think, a world premiere on just about every Chicago show that we're doing this season, more or less. So please sign up for alerts from us and come join us at the next one. If you have not made it to the exhibit yet, I really encourage you to do so. We were familiar with Goff's architectural output through our dear friend Sid, and he introduced us to the piano rolls, but I, for one, did not understand the vast amount of just output that he has. He was a true 20th century Renaissance person. I think 500 paintings, often just called untitled. A really snazzy collection of bolo ties. It's great. You should take the time and see it, especially because this next group of music is all featured in the exhibit. There's a player piano in there, and it's going to be playing some of the music that you'll hear in this next set. If you go and look at some of the written notation, you'll see a work that we'll play in this next set too, by Goff and one of his frequent collaborators, Ernest Brooks, Ordnance. So please, please, please join us at our next show, and please, please, please go to the Goff exhibit right here at the Amazing Art Institute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us this evening. Thank you so much to the Art Institute for having us. We got one more piece on this program. We do hope to see you at some of our other concerts in Chicago. If you can't make it to a concert, we also have a lot of recordings and other media that you can find wherever you find your recorded media. Our last full-length album, Standard Stoppages, we're actually really excited. We're going out to LA tomorrow because it was nominated for a Grammy, and we're going to the Grammy Awards. Thank you. So, hope to see you at another one of our shows soon. We got one more piece on the program. This is another reimagination of one of Goff's works. This is a reimagination of his 13th piano roll, and it's titled Goof.